Today, we are going to talk about the structural mechanics of the human body, the musculoskeletal system. The musculoskeletal system does more than create movement. It provides support, protects organs, enables mobility, produces blood cells in the marrow, stores calcium and phosphate, and generates heat through muscle activity. Bone disease can also affect hematologic function because blood cells are made in the marrow. Clinically, musculoskeletal disorders are the leading cause of disability worldwide, with arthritis at the top of the list. Most patients across the lifespan will have a musculoskeletal component to their care. The body has 206 bones, and shape determines function. Long bones like the femur provide weight-bearing and leverage with a shaft called the diaphysis and ends called epiphyses. Short bones like carpals and tarsals provide stability with multidirectional movement. Flat bones like the sternum and skull protect organs and produce blood cells. Irregular bones like the vertebrae and jaw provide specialized support. Exam tip: flat bones are clinically important for protection and hematopoiesis. This femur cross-section shows the internal structure of bone and the 3 cells that control it. The periosteum is the outer layer containing blood vessels and tendon attachments, and it is a major source of fracture pain. The endosteum lines the inner marrow cavity and is where osteoclast activity occurs. Osteoblasts build bone, osteocytes maintain bone, and osteoclasts break bone down. Bone density depends on the balance between osteoblasts and osteoclasts. When osteoclast activity dominates over time, osteoporosis develops. Bone is constantly remodeling, with the entire skeleton replaced about every 10 years. Osteoblasts build bone and osteoclasts break it down. Weight-bearing exercise, calcium, calcitriol, calcitonin, estrogen, and testosterone support bone formation. Inactivity, parathyroid hormone, excess thyroid hormone, and cortisol increase bone resorption. Long-term corticosteroid use accelerates bone loss, so nursing priorities include calcium, vitamin D, and weight-bearing activity. Bone heals by regenerating new bone, not by forming scar tissue. First is hematoma formation, where clotting, fibroblasts, and new blood vessels begin repair. Good blood flow is essential, or healing slows. Next, inflammation creates a soft callus that stabilizes the fracture. Then the reparative phase forms a hard callus visible on X-ray. Finally, remodeling restores full bone strength. Healing depends on blood supply, immobilization, age, and overall health. Older adults and patients with diabetes or poor circulation heal more slowly. Joints are classified by movement, and that predicts their risks. Synarthroses are immovable joints like skull sutures, designed for protection. Amphiarthroses are slightly movable joints like the spine and pubic symphysis, balancing stability with flexibility and prone to overload or inflammation. Diarthroses are freely movable synovial joints, like the hips, shoulders, and knees. They contain a joint capsule, synovial fluid, and cartilage, and they are the primary site of arthritis. The more mobile a joint is, the more vulnerable it becomes to injury and degeneration. The knee is the best model for synovial joint mechanics. The capsule and synovial fluid provide structure and lubrication. Synovial inflammation causes synovitis, and excess fluid causes effusion, assessed by ballottement. Cartilage absorbs shock, and when it wears down, osteoarthritis develops. Ligaments connect bone to bone, with ACL and MCL injuries common. Tendons connect muscle to bone and can develop tendinitis or rupture. Bursae cushion the joint, and inflammation causes bursitis. Synovial joint types include ball and socket, hinge, pivot, saddle, and gliding. Know which movement each allows. Muscle contraction is a 5-step electrochemical process. First, a nerve impulse arrives from the CNS. Second, the muscle membrane depolarizes through sodium and potassium shifts. Third, calcium is released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, exposing actin binding sites. Fourth, actin and myosin slide together, shortening the sarcomer and creating force. Fifth, calcium dissipates and the muscle relaxes. A TP powers every contraction. During hypoxia or intense activity, muscles shift to anaerobic metabolism and produce lactic acid, causing fatigue, cramping, and elevated lactate levels in shock. Muscles contract in 2 ways. Asymmetric contraction generates force without joint movement and helps maintain strength during bed rest, casting, or post-op restrictions. Isotonic contraction shortens the muscle and produces active movement. Red fibers are slow twitch, oxygen-rich, and built for endurance and posture. White fibers are fast twitch, powerful, and fatigue quickly. Muscle tone is never completely absent at rest. Upper motor neuron lesions increase tone and cause spasticity. Lower motor neuron lesions decrease tone and cause flaccidity. Changes in tone help localize neurologic injury. Voluntary movement requires coordinated muscle rolls. The prime mover, or agonist, is the main muscle creating movement. Synergists assist and stabilize the action. The antagonist must relax to allow movement, and failure to relax causes spasm and restricted motion. Hypertrophy occurs with exercise and increased load. Atrophy begins quickly, even after a few days of bed rest. For patients on bed rest, isometric exercises are a key nursing intervention to reduce muscle loss and functional decline. Mobility is a system-wide cascade, not a single muscle event. The nerve impulse starts the process. Skeletal muscle creates force through contraction. Tendons transmit that force to bone. Bones act as levers, and synovial joints create controlled movement through lubrication and ligament stability. A breakdown anywhere in the system, neuropathy, tendon rupture, fracture, arthritis, or ligament injury, disrupts mobility. Musculoskeletal assessment is about identifying where the failure point is in the cascade. Aging affects bone, muscle, and joints at different rates. Bone mass peaks in the late 20s, then declines, especially after menopause from estrogen loss. The result can be osteoporosis, height loss, kyphosis, and fracture risk. Muscle mass also declines with age, causing sarcopenia, weakness, and reduced endurance. Joint degeneration occurs as cartilage wears down and synovial fluid decreases, leading to osteoarthritis, stiffness, and pain. Together, these changes reduce mobility and increase dependence with ADLs. Nursing priorities include fall prevention, nutrition, pain control, and early mobility. Nursing care for the musculoskeletal system centers on 4 priorities. Promote bone and muscle health with calcium, vitamin D, and weight-bearing activity. Prevent fractures through fall precautions. Manage arthritis with pain control, joint protection, and assistive devices. And preserve independence through early mobility, isometric exercises, and physical therapy. The overall goal is maintaining function, mobility, and independence across the lifespan. In summary, the musculoskeletal system is the body's structural framework, providing support, protection, movement, blood cell production, and mineral storage. Bones are classified by shape and function, while joints determine the degree of mobility and risk for injury or arthritis. Bone remodeling depends on the balance between osteoblasts and osteoclasts, and fractures heal through 4 predictable stages. Muscle contraction powers movement through coordinated nerve, muscle, tendon, bone, and joint interaction. Nursing priorities include promoting calcium and vitamin D intake, encouraging mobility and exercise, preventing falls, preserving muscle strength, and supporting long-term independence.